Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 Quali Show. My name is Mario, and you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the Quick Stop channel. If you haven't yet, make sure to check out that preseason testing episode that Tasha and I worked on with Bryson. Really good lessons learned from that one for both of us. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave a review, 5 stars, share with a friend, and then everybody else. I got to tell you some information about my co-host. I'm convinced, but so convinced that there's not a hairstyle that she can't pull off. She actually ghost writes jokes for Fred Vasseur, if you didn't know. And she's currently working on and in process to submit a report to the FIA titled Why FP2 is the most important session of the weekend and should count for qualifying. Right. I'm, of course, talking about the best co-host anybody could have ever asked for, Tasha.
Hello.
Yeah.
You're great. You're like my recruiter. No. Like you always have a job. I'm employed. You know what I mean? I just appreciate that so much.
Always Tasha. And I am so ready because we are back. We're
so back.
Finally talking about actual cars going on track and going, we're finally talking about qualifying. We're talking about where people, this is what we're here.
It's real.
This is what we're here for.
That's what we trained for.
Yeah. We made it. We put the reps in.
Yeah.
It's go time. But before
winter is over. I'm great.
Winter is over. Exactly right. Please don't sue us, HBO. We will not be using that as our tagline.
That's like winter is coming. Winter is over. Yeah. That's our tagline. Yeah.
That's our tagline. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. How's your week been? How are you? How are you feeling?
Honestly, it's been good. And a lot of it was like the energy leading up to this weekend. Like I don't know what it is about this stupid sport and these stupid cars that puts me in such a great mood. But I was just looking forward to this all week. Testing really got me excited because there was so much potential. And then, I was just like counting down the days to quali and tomorrow, which is the race. So I don't know. What about you? What about your week?
First off, I'm proud of us for remembering that the race is on a Saturday. Right. Not on a Sunday. It only took about 25 reminders. My week was good. I was at a work conference, and it's very interesting to me because like I'm at a work thing.
Yeah.
But it feels like I'm adjacent to Formula One because in that work conference, ABB was there, and they are the sponsors of Formula E. So they had a Formula E car on that floor. And then Oracle was there, and they brought a whole ass racing sim. So I got to do that. It was amazing. And I got to do it. And I found it really interesting because I was talking to the person about like, oh, are you a fan? Do you like follow Red Bull? Blah, blah, blah. And that person did not know anything about Red Bull.
What?
like nothing, like nothing at all. And like, just, bless her heart. Like, I don't think that's her job. I don't think that's her job.
She was like, do you want to get on the sim or not?
Exactly. Like, I've got a sim here. Are you trying to do that? Because like, if you're not, I need you to like step out.
Aside. So how did you do? Did you like do pretty good?
I don't know. Is invalidated lap time a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I guess we could just say, So you're not going to Mercedes in 2025 is what you're telling me. Okay.
Unfortunately for me and fortunately for them, I will not be doing that.
Damn.
What's worse is the track that they had us do was Coda. So it's like the one that I've been to.
Right.
And that did not help me in my performance. So I'm going to leave that to the pros, but I've got a question. Have you ever done sim? I
have not. I've never done like an actual like real simulator, like just playing Gran Turismo, but that's as close as it's ever gotten. With like a steering wheel,
Yeah. How do you feel you would do?
I don't know, but I did watch Cat Williams do it like on Twitter yesterday, which was hilarious, by the way. I don't know. He did pretty well. Like, I feel like if he can do it, I can do it. So I don't know. I have confidence in myself that I would do all right in a sim.
I have confidence in you too.
Yeah. We just added to my jobs that you give me every week. So yeah.
I keep adding jobs to the list, but I keep not sending you any checks. So they'll send you the check.
Right. Okay.
I'm sure. You know who probably kicks our butts at these simulators? These 20 drivers that just got through qualifying, huh? Boom! First terrible segue of the season done.
We're so back. Nice.
We're so back. Thank you. Let's dip into what we just saw.
Yeah.
I guess we should say this is round one. We are in Bahrain. We had preseason testing last week, but today's Friday. We were recording. We just got done with qualifying.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Tasha? Overall, did you enjoy the session? Was it kind of boring? How were you at?
I mean, minus the one team giving me like heartburn. I think overall I enjoyed just seeing the cars back and like being really competitive, you know, so seeing where people actually are in relation to each other. I think that was like what I was the most anxious to see. I definitely feel like, you know, that like some teams, I just feel like, you know, were back to their old ways. There were, you know, a couple like little surprises in there. And I don't know, I just feel like overall it was a decent session. And I think a nice way overall to just kind of to start the season. I mean, the cars were much closer together performance wise than I guess like ever really before. So that was great to see, especially starting, you know, for the first race, the first qualifying session. So, I don't know. It was pretty solid for me. Did you have like any thoughts on the overall quality? Yeah.
I'm glad to be back. Overall,
yeah, me too.
Fun to see cars on track. Fun to go through qualifying again. Overall, little PTSD because I saw some things that I don't want to see. Like, for example, you know, Lewis Hamilton is going through sessions a little too clutch. Like I remember last year we talked about, you know, with Lewis, I'm nervous. He makes it, but I'm nervous. And, you know, it's just one qualifying, but it really did feel the same way where like I was nervous for a lot of time and he got to Q3, but like I didn't ever feel super confident in how he was doing. And then he ends up at 9th and George ends up at 3rd. I am so excited to to get back to the qualifying head-to-head of George and Lewis.
Oh,
like
God,
I can't wait until we start. That storyline is going to start again. Yeah. During the session, you said that you saw some little surprises. Any? Give me one. What were any? Yeah.
I'm going to be real. Alpine really shocked me. Despite, you know, this is the thing though. They've been saying like, please do not expect anything. We had this conversation actually where we talked about it after the launches where they were like, you know, because this is a new concept, we're starting from scratch. Like we don't really know like what we can expect from the car basically. So, you know, temper yourselves. And then obviously like in the last week, we learned that their car is like overweight, I think due to their engine, which I'm like, I don't know what you guys can do about that. So it just, you know, again, they've been throwing little breadcrumbs out to let us know, but still I was not expecting them to be dead last because Haas let us know that they don't expect much from their car this season either. And they definitely did much better in quali than Alpine did. And Alpine is a team that like, I don't know, was it like 2-3 seasons ago? Like they were up there. They were like 5th, 6th fastest team or like somewhere in that region. Yeah. So to see them kind of like drop so suddenly over the last like 2 years I think that's like the biggest surprise for me is just like how bad it got. Like, you know what I mean? Like I know it's rough, but this was pretty bad.
It's everybody. Teams are competing to who can set the expectations lower. Or lowest.
Right. Who can set the bar lowest? Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear Ocon at the end of quali? Ocon saying something like, it's just our first race. We're in this together. I trust you. Only reason he said that? Conspiracy? Because he beat Gasly.
Yeah.
Bro doesn't beat Gasly and he'd be like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's like, being Alpine sucks right now, but being the 20, like being Gasly sucks a little bit more because
right,
at least Ocon can say like, I beat my guy though. Like I beat my guy.
Our head to head, I'm winning so far. Like, yeah. It looks like they might try to start from the pit, if I'm not mistaken. I saw after the race they were doing some stuff out of Parc Fermé, so I don't know if they might try to make some adjustments, but yeah, it was pretty wild. I just wasn't expecting.
Who cares what adjustments you make? Like,
you may as well, yeah.
you may as well swap that whole car.
Yeah, I know.
We don't do body shaming ever on this podcast, but we will shame the body of a Formula One car because I was talking about like I feel like calling a Formula One car overweight and inefficient, which is like I heard during the broadcast, has to be two of the worst possible like descriptors of a Formula One car you can probably throw out there.
Yeah.
And in my case, it doesn't make sense. Well, it just them having their Renault. I don't know how to Renault. Thank you. Them having their Renault pass, like I would just not expect them to be this bad. And I am interested to see if they're actually capable of developing. Like,
yeah.
We've talked about we've talked about a lot about like McLaren's performance last year, how they turned it around. And will Alpine be the ones that turn around this year? It looks keen. Yeah, go ahead.
There's a team that I have earmarked for later because I'm just sort of like, this is, seeing the car being so overweight. I think the other big issue is just the team dynamic. Like so much change is happening. So many people have left. So many people have come onto the team. The drivers are not happy. So I feel like how are you able to kind of work together to develop a car that's that bad? I don't know. So I definitely have them like as my, like a team that I'm just keeping tabs on because I would be really curious to see how they kind of overcome this.
I agree 100%. Like, and it's like you said, there's so much turmoil in the team. How do you manage the kind of bad vibes with a bad car? Like, definitely something to watch.
Yeah.
I also during qualifying, Logan Sargent qualified 18th at the end of it, but there was this one time where they put on his radio, and he says, "I don't know what happened there," and it was something like he was basically talking about like with his lap. I don't like hearing that from Logan because he's the rookie. This is his second year now. I don't. I hear that and I think, okay, so that is something that someone with inexperience would say. That's something that I just wouldn't expect him to just openly say because there's so many eyes on him because this year, if he doesn't perform, like he's definitely not going to be on the grid next year. We're kind of all surprised he's on the grid this year after his performance last year. But then he ends up 18th while Alex Albon is 13.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not really super shocked about Williams in qualifying. I think this is pretty much lined up with what we saw last year.
Yeah.
So that was one thing that I don't know. I'm going to be looking at Logan. Obviously I don't expect Logan to win and be this like amazing driver or anything, but I am looking at him just like we're looking at Alpine. Like, let's see how you develop. I'm looking at Logan. Like, you need to prove that you learned from last year and that you're better than last year.
Right.
And so far, not so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same as usual.
Exactly. What else did you see during the qualifying session that jumped out to you?
I think the McLarens kind of jumped at me. Like, not that I think that they went back by any means. I guess I was, from last year, looking at where they ended, I was just really curious to see kind of the pecking order for this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like we kind of mentioned earlier, like the fact that the performance is so close. Like in Q1, the spread between the teams was like within 1 second. So everybody's developing. Yeah, like everyone's developing, everyone's getting faster. So I was just kind of curious to see, like, would they be comfortably ahead of like Mercedes or Aston, or even like Ferrari? Would they kind of be in that mix? So it feels like they are, but like there's still, it sounds like the team wants to do like some upgrades to kind of make even further improvements. So off the bat though, it feels like they're still in the mix, but they're not, I think, in my head where I was like kind of expecting them to be. The Ferraris looked amazing. I thought like, Carlos Sainz and Charles both just came out, like picked up where they left off last season, which is like in quali, they're just so fast, but the car looked really good, pretty stable. There were some team things happening that I thought was kind of funny, but it is what it is. But performance wise, I think they both kind of came out the gate like swinging. So I was excited for that as well. I think that was a good indicator.
On the McLaren side,
mm-hmm.
Lando 7th, Oscar 8th. At least they're still doing that. Whereas they were never like super far apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree. I feel like to what you were saying, if our conversation right now was Lando 3rd, Oscar 4th,
right,
that would have been expected.
Mm-hmm.
And 7th, 8th isn't terrible, but it really did. I felt like they would just pick up right where they left off.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting at least to see how they do during the race.
Yeah, I think Lando made just like a couple mistakes, and that's really what it came down to. I don't even think it was the car necessarily, but I think it was just Lando kind of making a few mistakes. So, I mean, that's really exciting because, he would have been, or he could have been like in the front row or, somewhere close to that. So it is just like the tiniest little things between the drivers that are like making the difference so far.
Even Alonso was like, I'm so connected with my car.
Yeah.
Me and my car are one.
Yeah.
I wake up, brush my teeth, get in the car. Like, we're like that.
We're us. Yeah. I mean, I think it's surprised us. I think that was one, given how Aston left off last season, mm-hmm. they kind of fell off. So to see Alonso be able to put in so many good laps, especially I think in like Q2, just like this really, really good lap. So I don't know,
like second during Q2,
second or third, something, mm-hmm. maybe like second. But yeah, so it was just like, okay, so everybody really did what they needed to do over the break, and it's not going to be so easy to just like, run away with it in terms of like development.
Yeah. I like. I learned something new
mm-hmm.
not learned, but I am convinced of something today.
Yeah.
Nico Hülkenberg is not a bad driver. I'm gonna say that.
He's solid.
Right?
I think that's the reason why Gunther put him on the team is, he's older, he's more experienced, he's consistent. Mm-hmm. But, obviously he can't outdrive all of the pitfalls that Haas has. But yeah, when it comes to qualifying, he's been putting in, I think, way better performances than most drivers who mm-hmm. have better cars. So, he's solid.
You can see so he's going to start 10th.
Yeah.
He's got Yuki behind him. He's got Lance Stroll behind him.
Yeah.
There's the Alpines, but I think we're going to say that all the time. So there's, I think he did a great job to land it on 10th. I think he did a good job. It's the first round. You've got his teammate at 15th with Magnussen.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh man, I almost see him, and I think that it would be interesting to see him in a better car right now because he seems to be in good form.
Yeah.
Do you think VCarb is sandbagging so that we don't get mad right away when they start competing, or do you think 11th for Yuki and 14th for Danny Rick is probably more like what we should expect? Obviously, we're speculating.
Yeah, I think that's pretty representative. I mean, for one lap, I think, tomorrow is really going to be the biggest indicator of where everybody's really at. But I think that's probably where they're really at. And I do feel like it's some slight improvement to last year.
Yeah.
Because, Yuki was having some issues, especially toward the beginning of the season, getting out of, Q1.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I feel like for them, it's probably a really good result, especially for the first race with, everybody's, bringing their car out for the first time. So yeah, I feel like that's probably where they should be. If they were higher, I think I would be more concerned.
I would, and that's what I was saying. I would sandbag if I know that if I'm them and I'm like I can get third, I would sandbag for at least 3 races so Zach Brown doesn't come and kill me. I think Yuki has a chance during the race tomorrow.
Yeah,
maybe crack that top 10 because like we just talked about, Hülkenberg is 10th. I think that car being Ferrari based. Mm-hmm. Really good qualifier, not as good in a race. So I think there's people to jump for sure. For
I
Yuki.
agree.
And I would like to see Yuki jump them. I think one of the storylines this year that's going to be fed to us by force is just like the Lewis and George like
Mhm.
qualifying situation, the Danny Rick and Yuki qualifying situation.
Yeah.
I think that we're gonna constantly get like the comparisons between them. I hope Yuki comes out victorious in that. Nothing against Danny Rick at all. I mean, I do have some things to say, but I just want Yuki to do better than this year. Maybe hopefully he'll have the car to actually do it.
Yeah,
though.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have a
go
question
ahead.
for you.
Yes, I love questions.
Is it considered sandbagging if everyone knows that you're fast? Because I just feel like the narrative for Red Bull coming into this quali
Yeah.
was like ridiculous. Are they sandbagging? Like, come on. Come on.
I don't, you know, like we'll never know because we're, but like, no, Red Bull can't be sandbagging.
Like, they're showing their pace. Like, okay, but are we not confident that they wouldn't be at the front of the
like
time
if you
sheet?
woke up today and
Oh,
you're
not they,
like,
sorry, Max. Sorry, specifically.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you woke up today and you were like, Max isn't getting top 3, I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
more wishful thinking than anything else.
Right.
You know. I guess we should mention real quick the other guy,
Yeah.
Mr. Checo Perez, who made it to 5th. Good for him. Good job.
Wait,
sir.
but like, what do we mean? Like, that's what. How are you P5? Like, at some point during quali, I was like, oh wow, he actually made it all the way through. So I was like, kudos.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, P5. Like, it's the first.
What did you want for him? Do you want him in P2?
P2
at least.
Minimum.
At least
minimum.
I don't understand this constantly losing to Max by so much.
Yeah.
And you can say, like, not you obviously, but like people can say all they want. Max is first, he's 5th.
Right.
That's a big difference when you have the same exact car under your belt, when you're doing the same exact thing. He should be 2nd. I definitely agree with you that he should be 2nd.
And you got a Mercedes ahead of you. I mean, the Ferrari, I do get the Ferraris.
Absolutely.
But that W15, like, what are we talking about
Russell
here?
Russell shouldn't be in front of you. Russell shouldn't be in front of you. The other day I read that, like, it was a really backhanded comment where it was like, compared to Max, Checo's doing all right. You can't expect Checo to be right there with Max. And it's like, bitch, yes, I should expect that. And yes, he should be 2nd.
Right.
Like, what are you talking?
Are we asking for too much? Maybe we just have too high expectations for that 2nd driver.
Best car on track, you know, doesn't mean apparently we're just wrong to think that because you have the best car on track that you should do well.
Right.
Maybe that's just us.
Yeah. Silly us.
Gut feeling from a heart. He finishes lower than 5th. He finishes lower than 5th. That might be wishful thinking as well.
Right.
We already talked about McLaren, but I do want to say, interesting that last year, Oscar was really down on the qualifying in Bahrain last year. Oscar, I think, was like 15th through 17th. I don't care enough to check it, but I will say that having him start 8th this year makes me really excited about his career this season in general. Like, I am super interested in how he's going to do this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, McLaren's starting on a much better place than they were last year.
Yeah, I'm excited as well.
Yeah. Speculation number 2. Do you think Oscar wins before Norris does this year?
I would like to see it.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would like to see it. I would like because I think that would be absolutely delightful. I mean, just, you know, like we kind of a continuation from last year. Like, I feel like we saw like Oscar come in and he was so confident and so comfortable, so composed. Love a bunch of C words back to back. But do you know what I mean? Like, he just came in and he felt like very like at ease, even though a lot of pressure was on him. So I feel like this season, I feel like I don't see why he doesn't continue that. Like, I don't know what would shake him mentally enough that like he couldn't keep up. But I do feel like if that mentality transferred over, then I don't see how he doesn't. I mean, he won a sprint race last year.
Yes.
You know, when that car got upgraded, he kept it like you said, near Lando. You know, there are a lot of instances where they kind of had to swap places, but that's just because, you know, Oscar doesn't really have the race pace or the tire management skills that Lando has. So, you know, I just, if he can make those little adjustments, little improvements, like I don't know. I'm excited for him because I just feel like he has it. And I just feel like as long as McLaren gives him something he can work with, we'll actually be able to see his progression and, you know, how well he does throughout the season.
One thing about me, every interview I see with Oscar, I'm like, I like you. I like you. You funny.
He's so good.
I like him a lot. Like I think he'll be very good for the sport.
I agree.
He's so not flashy and so just like, I don't know. Like I'm just here to race, man. I'm just here to do my best. That's it. Big fan. Ooh. Thoughts on the green car?
I
don't know what to call them. That's why I say green car. I don't know what to call them.
I thought I would care. I thought I would like, it would grow on me, this shade of green, but it's not. I hate it. I hate the livery. I just feel like it needs something else. Like it needs like more white or another color. Like I hate it. The car looks the same as last year. I'm not going to lie, which is decent. Like, you know, just smack in the middle of decent. So, you know, I know Bottas was saying, you know, there's expect some surprises this year. It feels like the team kind of, you know, thinks that they're going to make some progress. I would like to see it. Another thing I would love to see. But yeah, right now I feel like they ended up basically where they always kind of do. The car looked about the same. You know, little improvement, but everybody else is making improvements. So it's just, you know, not enough essentially. So,
and they don't really have a track record of Alfa Romeo in the previous years. We didn't see them show very strong ability to develop. We didn't see them like when they did well, it felt fluky. It didn't feel like they were meant to be there or anything. And based on how they did today, they just seem to just I think we said it in one of our episodes, like, they're just there. Like, and it just feels like they're just there. And then they're gonna change to Audi in 2026, and it just feels like they're like, we're just here until we change. And that's just we're just vibing. And I don't know. I like Valtteri, so I wish he was competing more, but from what I'm seeing, I just don't really believe that he will.
Yeah. It'll be the same as last year, I think. Yeah.
Probably.
Not even gonna lie.
Not quality related, but like during the week, I think Carlos Sainz was interviewed about the Lewis Hamilton thing, and I found it really funny because he said I would have done the same thing when talking about signing Hamilton over Sainz. Yeah, and I just really wanted to mention that because like. You got to be honest with yourself.
Self-awareness is important.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, come on, like we're not saying that you're being replaced with Lance Stroll. You're being replaced with the GOAT. And like, that's the most flattering thing I can say is like, I was fired for the GOAT. So it's nice to see him in good spirits. Because he was talking about like, I'm just focused on where I'll go next. And look at him starting in fourth.
I feel like he's really going to show out this season. I'm not going to lie. Like I do feel like he's going to try his best. He has to because he needs a seat. So he needs to catch somebody's eye for 2025. But yeah, I think he's just going to show out for this season. I was, not surprised, but I was really happy to see, like I said earlier, like that he just kind of came out swinging. So I think Charles still has that edge in quali, but we'll see kind of how this season progresses in terms of like them as like a team and their dynamic, because last season Carlos was choosing himself, he's like, I got to choose me and put me first. So, we'll see if that continues. I'm sure
I'd stay that way. Yeah. Knowing that I'm like not gonna be on the team anymore.
Yeah.
I would probably still bet on me. I'm saying. I actually hope he does well. Get Checo out of there. Put Sainz in with Max. Reunite them after their Toro Rosso days.
Reunited? Yeah, that'd be nice.
Oh, never mind. What else? Did you see anything else? You want to do this?
We gotta talk about Mercedes.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. What changed between FP2 and qualifying? y'all were not y'all, but like the timeline was going crazy. Like stop the
Yeah.
count after FP2.
Right.
And I'm just
Go
trying
ahead and
to
wrap this
understand.
weekend up. Yeah.
I'm saying, why can't we? Why can't we?
Yeah. We can't have nice things, but it is partially Lewis Hamilton's fault.
Yeah.
Don't boo me, don't throw tomatoes. But he mentioned after quali, he was like, after FP2, we wanted to just make some changes and see if we could, I don't know, extract more from the car. So every single time they do this, though, the car is flawless. It's flying, and they're like, let's just see if we can, what else we can do. It's like, how has that ever gone wrong before? So yeah, so it's basically a setup issue.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me in terms of that is like, obviously that's been the story for the past 2 years. Like we either get the car set up for quali or we get it set up for the race. There's like no in between. George opts for quali and Lewis opts for race pace. And I guess what I do like about that, knowing that they basically go for different things, is like with George, he ends up in P3. So it's like you definitely can see the potential of this car.
That's true, yeah.
I do like that aspect. Like, okay, it is a little speedier than, than usual. So that's nice to see. But I guess what I thought that kind of like let me down, because I'm not necessarily thinking that, we've over winter produced a rocket ship. But, in practice, the car looks so stable. Like he wasn't making so many corrections. It just seemed to do what, they wanted the car to do. Well, George was struggling a little bit, but it seemed like it was behaving. So for me, I was like, that's making me excited, because I feel like if it behaves, Lewis can do what he needs to do. But what I was semi-hoping was that even if he chooses like race day setup, that it still would like comfortably yield like a P5, P6 in quali.
Like it would be good enough to give you a better result than ninth. Even though you're prioritizing the race pace, yeah.
Exactly. So like that's kind of where I'm like, okay, like not like it's that, because it's like such a dramatic difference between the two setups. No, so
absolutely,
yeah, that's genuinely where I'm at.
Because I look at Russell third and Hamilton ninth, and it's like, okay, Hamilton goes towards race pace, but starting ninth is so back there. Like, is it worth doing these corrections to give you the race pace if you're starting from ninth? Because that's a tough spot to start and have like aspirations to get like in the top 3, for example. So I agree with you 100%. And I also really like what you said, because like if Russell can get third, Hamilton's in ninth, then there is actually a world where we do less of an aggressive race pace setup, and maybe we can get you to fifth in the starting grid and still have enough race pace to stick to fifth or higher.
That would be nice.
That would be fantastic.
Dead ass starting next to a Haas, so I'm just like,
I hate that you tweeted that, because I was like,
and I hate that that's what happened.
I was in my own little world, like, oh, look at Nico, oh, good for him. And then it's like we're starting next to Nico, and I'm like, what? No, I said,
and Haas
Nico,
was like, we're aiming for 8th this season. I mean, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like they came out with like, don't expect anything, and now he started next to Lewis Hamilton. So
we need to do a public service announcement. Is our boy going to get screwed by Mercedes this season with the politics of you're leaving, so we're favoring Russell? Do you think that's where we're going to be?
I think that's what he got screwed last year, and he wasn't going anywhere until, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't see how that changes either. Like, again, it's just a winter break. It's 3 months. Like, I don't see fundamentally the team dynamic changing in a way that's going to like, be beneficial to Lewis and then he's on his way out. So yeah, I expect the same lobbying from George, same weirdo strategies. Like I'm tempering my expectations heavily this season, because I'm just like, sometimes I get worked up. You guys see me on Twitter acting a fool. I get worked up, but like, so it's just like this year, I'm also trying to balance that with like, I don't expect anything.
Yeah.
And then I look at the Ferrari and I'm like, that shit looks nice. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they kind of did their thing with that one. So, if it doesn't work out this year, there's always next year,
The timeline was on that same line where it's like, forget Mercedes. You look at that Ferrari.
Right?
You look at that Ferrari. Carlos Sainz put it where?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nah.
exactly.
I think
Now
there's gonna
that
be a lot
tire
of
deg,
us.
I need to see tomorrow, and that's all I need to
Ooh.
see before I get too excited. But at least in quali, we're set for next year.
That's actually a great point. And Ferrari does struggle with tire degradation.
Yeah,
So
a
it
lot.
will be.
Yeah.
Ooh. Nah, I think Ferrari. Nah, I think
We'll
Ferrari's gonna
see.
be.
I mean, it seemed like in
yeah.
testing that they had kind of solved some of those issues, but the race is the race, so I think we just need to kind of see what's happening. Yeah,
I'm excited. Like, I'm legitimately excited for the race tomorrow because of everything that we've talked about. Like, just seeing like, because this is literally just one half of the picture is the qualifying.
Right.
Like, I am really, really interested in seeing like stuff like tire degradation and race pace and like strategy with the tires as well.
Yep.
Like,
me too.
It is exciting with the. It feels like we are not just back, but it does feel like a clean slate. You know, I'm sure as things develop and as things shape up, stuff that happened last year, like Yuki always getting 11th, could repeat itself. But this is a much better starting point than we had last year with Mercedes, with Oscar, with Ferrari's doing really well as well. Now we're at a really good point where it's like if Mercedes doesn't do well, we can just bank on Ferrari and be like, we're just Ferrari fans until next year.
Exactly. I'm just enjoying the ride. Like Mercedes is gonna Mercedes, so you know what I mean. We gotta we move.
It's funny because I think the only driver that we haven't mentioned, which I think is hilarious, is Lance Stroll.
Oh man, forgot all about him. He cut off that beard, and I was just like, I don't even know who you are anymore.
No more assemblies?
Don't even care. Yeah.
No. We're packing it up. No more Lance Stroll Beard Island, huh?
Done and dusted, yeah.
Damn.
You're out of here. No, I'm just kidding.
The streets are fickle over here.
It's cold.
Man.
You know, it's a cold world out here. Yeah.
Out here. That's why you need the beard to keep you warm.
Exactly.
So any last thoughts on what you saw today? What happened in qualify? Anything like that?
No, I feel like we covered everything. And honestly, it's just I'm just really excited for the race. Because again, that's like the third thing that I need to see. We saw testing, we got practice, quality. I need to race. So I need to see for real, where everybody's at, how everybody's doing. And then we can kind of move from there. So what about you?
I'm on the same boat. I was happy watching qualifying. I'm excited to watch tomorrow. I think the only thing we know for sure is that Alpine's going to be 19 and 20. Everything else it feels kind of up in the air. I guess Max getting first. But everything else feels up in the air. So let's just go into, I guess, what were the people saying about what's going to happen tomorrow? Tasha put out, if you don't remember, if you're new here, we always put out a tweet after qualifying to get a feel for like, what do you think is going to happen during the race? So make sure, read, such a pro. So read the room. So Tasha tweeted out this afternoon. But before that, I'm just going to go through we've talked a little bit about where everybody landed, but let's get a view for the actual grid, and then we'll move on to what people are thinking with regards to placement. So I'm going to start at 1st through 20th. We've got at number 1, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Carlos Sainz, Checo, Alonso in 6th, Norris, Oscar, Lewis, Nico Hülkenberg in 10th. We got Yuki, Lance Stroll, Alex Albon, Danny Rick, Kevin Magnussen in 15th. Then we've got Valtteri, we got Zhou Guanyu, Logan Sargent, Ocon, and Gasly. So that is the starting grid for tomorrow. So let's see what the people think it's going to happen. You get us started, Tosh.
Yeah, I'm going to read at Keith Bethel. He said, I asked what everybody wanted to see, race predictions or podium predictions or thoughts and feelings. And Keith said, I want to see the car over the course of the race, talking about the W15. I have a feeling it gets better as it warms up. For some reason, we've struggled with a plug and play setup, which sucks for quali. Overall, this ain't it though.
How do you feel with that? Do you kind of agree with his take?
Oh yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, again, it's just more like the fact that you have to kind of pick and choose. There's no happy medium with the
Mhm.
car. I mean, granted, this is a whole new concept for Mercedes, so I mean, I think it's going to take a minute anyway for them to kind of find that
Yeah.
balance if there is one. So yeah, but I agree. It's just like, damn, we all this hopefulness from the start of the season. James Allison's cooking, and it's like, damn, okay, this kind of tastes like what we had last year for dinner. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and during Bryson's episode, during the episode we have with Bryson, like he expressed that he does have a lot of faith in like the development that Mercedes can do throughout the season.
Yes. Mhm.
And we were talking about the potential of the car, and it looks like everything we talked about, you know, we are at a better place. And so really
Yeah.
we are depending on development this year. So it'll be interesting
Agreed.
to see if Mercedes can pull that off.
Yeah.
I think this is a good like analogy of you and I, because you came with the very good like actual conversation tweet. Meanwhile, I'm over here with Tasha tweeted, "What are your race predictions or podium predictions for tomorrow?" I chose at Prudy Bear, who simply said, "I'm not doing this." And I just found that so like, I don't want to talk about predictions.
Cut right through
like,
the,
don't ask me what's going to
Yeah.
happen. Hit me up tomorrow after the race is done,
Right.
and I can tell you exactly what happened. But don't get me I'm no predicting on my end. No predicting on my end. That person did not want to mess with
Right.
that. No.
Yeah, that quality was rough. I mean, it really was rough. So I wholeheartedly agree with that type of sentiment.
What do you got next up?
From at that chill babe said, maybe a young P5 or P6. Honestly, I have no idea what to expect from the W15.
Which is both terrifying and exciting.
Yeah.
And then Cram
Agreed.
replied, "Looking forward to the race. We just need a clean start." And at first, I went very philosophical and thought, clean start, like for the season, like clean start. We just need to reset our mindset,
Right.
focus. I think they just meant we need a clean start, like that first initial, like
Yes,
the start
that
of
first,
the race.
yeah.
You know, I think
Mhm.
that's where they were actually
Yeah, I think
talking
figuratively speaking, yes.
But hey, I also think that reset, you know, mindset reset, it's good. It's
Yeah,
good.
it all fits. It all fits. It all fits.
Yeah.
My next tweet is from Joey FCB. He said, "It looks like the 2022 season all over again from where I'm sitting. Max wins, Ferrari 2-3."
That feels very real. Very, you know, very like, this is very high probability that that's going to be the podium.
Right.
But forget that probability. What's your prediction? What are you thinking? What do you have for your top 3 tomorrow?
Oh, I'm actually gonna. So Max, right?
It's the free space. It's bingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think the sandbagging is over. We know what the truth is now, what we're dealing with this season. Yeah, so Max P1, P2. Oh man, I don't know. I'm gonna. I feel like George is like a little dark horse. I think he might do what he needs to do. I don't know. Charles is another option as well. Let's say, okay, Max. Let's do Max, Charles, and I'm going to say Lewis. I'm going to sprinkle him on there. P3. What about you?
First, I want to, based on what you just said with George Russell.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to prove this season for himself.
Yeah.
And I think for the team. So it will be, just like I mentioned with Logan as well, like I'm interested in how Russell's going to perform, because he does have the pressure this year of like, now I am the Mercedes guy because Lewis is leaving. It'll be interesting to see if that gets to him. But if I'm fast forwarding too much, but if the end of the season comes along and he's in the top 3, top 5, then I would give him kudos, just because he is at a place where he basically has to prove to himself, to Mercedes, and to, I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan, but like to Mercedes fans, that, you know, the GOAT is leaving, but you still have something serviceable in-house. And that's a lot to work with, being in George's position. For my prediction, Max first, because alas, give me the champion podium. Give me a Max Alonso Hamilton podium.
Okay.
Yeah. Alonso was speaking up, I feel we laugh
like that.
about it, but like Alonso said he feels connected with the car. And I think that that has to be worth something for a 2-time champion. They were killing it at the start of the season last year. So them starting really well this year would also make sense. So yeah, I think give me the champions podium. Okay. The Verstappen, Alonso, Lewis.
I like that.
Yeah, I said it already. I think Alpine's going to be terrible just because everybody says they're going to be terrible and they're clearly looking terrible. Any other team that you're looking, other than our top 3 and everything, any other team that jumps out the page to you with like, I'm very interested in seeing what you do tomorrow?
Let's see. Definitely the Visa team. I need to see what we're working with for
race. No, you're absolutely right. Race pace for them. Really, really interesting.
I need to see what we're working with there. Definitely. I mean, I know you said not the top teams, but Mercedes. I need to know what the race pace situation is going to be. Yeah. I don't know. I think overall, in general, I just feel like I need to see everything because where are they relative to each other? Those are the two that I'm the most.
Great. Yeah. Those are 2 great answers. I'll literally copy and paste your answer and I'll add a little bit of you even said like the Visa team. I'm very curious how Yuki will do and not so much Williams in general, but definitely interested to see what Alex Albon's race pace will be as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Over under on one of the Alpines like combusting. DNF? Yeah. How soon do you think we're getting like a flag?
At the I love your question. We're either getting one at the first or second lap, or we're not getting one.
Okay.
There's going to be a car that's going to like, that's I like that. That's my prediction. First or second lap Fissel.
I feel like it's going to be like midway. We're just going to see like Pierre Gasly once again hopping out of his car, like engulfed in flames. Yeah.
I just hate. How do you decide a car that's overweight and inefficient? It's your engine. Oh. Okay.
Anyway.
Exciting things to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Sheesh. So, we're back. I'll say it again. We're back. Let's see some race pace. Let's see how we end up. Let's just try to keep the energy up, Things might happen that are predictable. Things might be surprising, It's a new season. Let's try our best to not hit the skip button for next year for no reason, no reason at all. But yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow, and I'm excited to be back with you doing this all season. Same. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. Love to have you. If you've heard it before, thank you for being back. Yeah. Tasha and I will be here all season during race weeks. We've got this quality show during bye weeks. During bye weeks. We do have a show. We go over the news. We go over anything relevant that's in the timeline and everything. But I think, we're just excited to be in this new season. We're excited to see how it shapes up. But before we wrap up, Tasha, would you like to add anything, maybe not qualifying or anything else you want to talk about before we step out?
No.
I'm good.
Let's go racing.
Let's go. Oh!
Let's go racing.
Yes. All right. I've been Mario again. Thanks to everybody for listening or watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Hit us up in the YouTube comments. We're there. We reply to those. We're on social media. Remember to look out for the tweet when we ask for your opinions. You might show up on one of these episodes. Thank you to everybody. We're excited to be here. Excited to do this thing. And yeah, Tasha, the floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Everything that Mario said. Thank you guys again for listening. We always appreciate having you here with us. And no matter what happens in life, keep it on the black stuff.
Bye.
Bye.
Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quickstop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links there. They're there.